Tap that subscribe button and keep it locked here to Secrets to a Free Mind show with your host, Melanie Parker, powered by Quality Girl. In this episode, we'll hear from professionals on professional and creativity reboot, young adults and older adults. Keep it locked. Welcome back. I'm Melanie Parker, founder of Quality Girl and your host of Secrets to a Free Mind show, where we help you free your mind, move forward in life. Shout out to Mike Horn at Mike Life Poetry on Twitter for co-designing the cover art and composing the beats. In addition to listening to this podcast, be sure to tap the thumbs up icon, subscribe button, and bell icon to love us, follow us, and receive clips via Twitter on episodes. Let's welcome Vikki Massey. Hi, Vicky.
Hi, Melanie. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well. How are you and yours?
Doing great. Hanging in there.
I know. We're winning. And we're going to win on the other side.
Absolutely.
So, Vicky, tell us about you.
Okay. Again, my name is Vikki Massey. I am a native of Farmville, North Carolina, the same city as Melanie. As a matter of fact, of course, we are cousins and grew up just a few miles from each other, very close to one another. So,
yes,
and we've remained close ever since then. So, I've been living, however, in Millington, Tennessee, which is a suburb of Memphis, for about 17 years. I am an African-American woman. I have, in terms of my educational background, I have a Bachelor of Arts in Journalism and Mass Communication. I have a Master's of Arts in Communication Studies with a concentration, on Organizational Studies. And then I have a Master of Science in Information Science. And I have used those degrees for a career in information technology and helping people at academic institutions. And so I have worked at two different academic institutions in technical support and then administration and customer support for different IT systems. I have been a support manager for one of our colleges. I moved from there into project management in IT, which was a great combination for me of things that I love the most, which is helping people and information technology. From there, I became the director of our project management office, and now I am the Assistant Vice Chancellor of Information Technology at the University of Tennessee Health Science Center.
Oh, yes, honey. I love it.
I enjoy it, and I have enjoyed it from the day I started, and every day I get up, I'm as excited. Currently in my 17th year there, and things are going strong. I'm excited. In terms of my personal life, I am a member of the United Methodist Church. I've been attending the same church for more than 10 years now, and I have a husband of 15 years. His name is Steve. And we have two sons, Nicholas, who's 11, and Spencer, who's 7. So thank you for having me today. I appreciate it.
Oh, yes. We're excited to hear from you and what you have to say. I tell you, Vicky, you are definitely the right person to speak on rebooting careers, career decisions, or if you want a career change. So we're going to get right into the heart of the interview.
Okay.
Vicky, relating to young adults or older adults, what are signs adults might need guidance toward career decisions?
Well, so let me start with young adults. And I think, really what I want to address is, how do you know when maybe it's time for a career change? And we're not talking a job change. A job change means I love what I'm doing, but maybe I don't like who I'm doing it for or the company that I'm working for. So that's an indicator that you need to go out and find another position, maybe in that same company or even in a different company. But what we're talking about is, how do you know when you need to completely change the type of work that you do every day, so your career path? And starting with young adults, let me just say for a moment, when I think of young adults, we think about millennials, who certainly have a large percentage of our working population right now, and that number is only going to increase. We're talking about people who were born between 1981 and 1986, so they're somewhere between 24 and 39 years old. And one important thing to remember about millennials is that, they come to the workplace with a different set of motivations for why they are here. If you go back and look at, for instance, who grew up during World War II, they did not change jobs very often. They grew up in a time when they were deprived. People were poor. They didn't have a lot of opportunities. And so when you got a job, you kept that job for a really long time. Well, as you fast forward through the generations, and now we're at the millennials, people work for different reasons. People work because they believe in something. The millennials grew up in a time when there was a lot of social consciousness in the world, when there was an emphasis on teamwork, when there was a different definition of what is acceptable, what is normal, what is beautiful, what is good. And so millennials go into the workplace and they're looking for not just any job, they're looking for a job, they're looking for a cause, and they're looking for a company that they believe in. And so we have to understand, first of all, that, young adults who may be changing jobs, they're not doing that flippantly. They're doing that because they're looking really for something that they can believe in. And I think that's a great thing. And because to me, that's what you have to have. To me, if you not have passion, if you are not doing something that you're interested in, then it's very hard to excel in that area.
Agreed.
And so I would say to people, if as you are working, young adults, old adults, whomever, you have a lack of passion and interest, that your job is drudgery more times than is exciting, then it might be time to look at a different career. Because I think when you have that lack of passion or that lack of interest, that could very, very well lead to not excelling in that area. And you may think, well, maybe I'm just not good at this, or I'm not a good worker, or your employer may think that. But really what may be happening is you're simply mismatched. You're in a career that is not taking advantage of the things that you love and that interest you the most, or where you want to be making a difference. And so again, let me just say, everyone has a bad day every once in a while, but that should not be your norm. And so if more days than not, you are going into your job, and you're not interested in what you're doing, you're not putting your best foot forward, then that may be an indicator that you need to start looking for a career change.
That is so true, Vicky. That is so true. And I would like to also add that I find that leaders who are higher professionals, young adults or older adults, they tend to just hire a worker and not use their leadership skills in order to, say, let me understand their strengths, let me see their weaknesses, let me match their strengths to a skill in order to maximize those strengths so we can reduce or minimize those weaknesses in order to grow them and to develop this worker. And I think a lot of times the tone is not set in leadership. In addition to, of course, the worker taking initiative to find, what are my gifts and talents? What matches the skill set? What's in demand? And we'll get into that a little later. And where is the demand? So I appreciate what you have to say about that passion, matching it up with the skill set.
Absolutely. And I think you make a great point that in addition to we as employees, making sure that we're putting ourselves in the best position to shine, I think it's also important for employers to do that as well. Often you see someone who's struggling, not living up to the abilities and capabilities that that they have, and often just shifting that person into a different role, perhaps moving them into a different area of leadership, a different area of the organization, really can make a huge difference.
That's right, it does. Vicky, relating to adults, young or old, what could one do to reboot his or her professional drive?
So, I think that could be a very scary thing to think about. You find yourself in a position where you're not excelling, you don't find yourself moving the the direction that you want to move. You're not moving up in your company or in your career. So what do you do? You know that you need a career change. How do you go about that? And I would say that, going back to the passion and the interest, you have to think, what are the things that I like to do? What am I good at doing? What are my top skills? What do I bring to the table? And so, I think through my own career, and I think, the jobs that I have had have been very complimentary of what my personality traits are. I love talking to people. I love helping people, especially when it comes to technology. I love helping people to understand it at their own level and based on what it is that they need that technology to do. I also am a planner. I am a coordinator. I'm into details. I'm a good writer. And so a lot of those things for me have really helped me to go where I needed to go or where I want it to be. And so, one of the best moves I ever made in my career was to go into project management because it takes advantage of all of those skills that I just talked about.
Absolutely.
It also allows me to continue to be in technology without necessarily being in the nuts and the bolts of the coding, which is not really where my strong suit lie. So you have to think, what are the things or that I like to do? What am I good at doing? What personality traits do I have, and what jobs do those fit best? And then once you do that, then you start to identify jobs that need those personality traits and those skill sets that are your strong suit. And so again, for me, project management and now my role as an Assistant Vice Chancellor doing strategy and planning for our information technology department allows me to take advantage of the two things that I love the most professionally, which is technology and helping people to use that technology. And so for me, that combination, again, allows me to get up every day, be very excited about what I do. And even on the days when I'm frustrated, when I'm exhausted, when I'm just ready to say, I'm done right now, I can't take any more of this, it allows me to reboot the next day because, again, it's something that I absolutely love. And then I think the most important thing that you have to do, and this is the hard, as any change, that you go through in your life, you have to be ready to take that leap of faith and to work hard to make that change to the career that you now aspire to.
Sure.
And so, you have to be ready to reskill yourself, retool yourself. Depending on what you want to do, that may even be going back to school. And so if today I said, I want to be a doctor, we know what it takes to be a doctor. We're talking about a lot of school. I may have to go back and redo some bachelor's level classes. Certainly would have to go to medical school and then would have to go through residency. And so, we're talking about huge commitments in terms of not just the desire to change, but then the action items needed for that change.
Absolutely, Vicky. You are killing it today. You're identifying these points, and these are going to be good takeaways for the listeners. I want to rewind it back to when you stated you knew what you were good at or what you are good at and your limitations, being able to identify our strengths and weaknesses, not only giving it the responsibility, but taking that initiative yourself to identify what I'm good at, what are my gifts and talents, also how it fits within the information technological arena we're in now. This is the way of the world, and it's going to be here, and we're going to have to be innovative with the era. So I like the fact how you took advantage of that, and also you had the foresight to identify, okay, the era, also how will I fit into the era and the skill set in order to be productive and prosperous. And we have to make that identity call. We have to take the action. We have to pray. We have to be in faith. But there's a time for prayer and there's a time for action. And we have to take the responsibility and actualize.
Absolutely. If you're not ready to do the things that are required to make a change in your career, it's not going to happen opportunities don't just, fall from trees.
That's right.
And, people talk about, well, sometimes maybe I'll get lucky. But, luck is where preparation meets opportunity.
Okay.
And so it's really about, you need to start preparing yourself. So
That's
reskilling, retooling, going back to school, and even being willing to do things such as taking entry-level positions in your new field.
That's right.
And so if you're making a completely different change, and employers are looking for people who have experience, not just you've gone to certain classes, but they're looking for experience. They're looking for knowledge that you can bring in and take a position and really help to build their organization. And so you have to prove that. You're going to a whole different career. It may mean that you have to start from the bottom and work your way up if that's the career you truly, feel
that's
that you
right.
want.
That is so true, Vicky. And we have to be, that's humility, because if you are investing in yourself and your career, you would do that. But see, a lot of times, especially those who deem themselves as the boss, people think the skills or the attributes of being a boss is I get to do what I want to do. I get to come in when I want to come in. I don't have to sit and nobody has to tell me what to do. I'm the boss. But that is not leadership or entrepreneurial skills. It means when you're able to be humble and be honest and taking the initiative in someone else's and able to harvest in your own backyard later. And you see the fruit of it later. It's a win-win.
That's absolutely right.
It's a win-win.
And please let me just emphasize this. I am a big believer in, a lot of times I think people wait for the opportunity and then they prepare themselves. That is not how the world works.
That's right.
You must be ready.
There you go. Live ready.
You must be prepared.
Live ready. That's right.
That's right. And as the saying is, stay ready so you don't have to get ready. Right.
I love it.
And so when you're ready, the opportunity is going to come along. But if you wait for the opportunity and then decide, I'll go back to school now and get the training. I'll go out and get the experience now so I can meet this opportunity. You know what's going to happen? What's going to happen is that someone else who is ready is going to take your opportunity.
Okay, yeah.
Because it's really their opportunity because they're ready to take advantage.
I love it, Vic. You are preaching today. I'm telling you, you have to take initiative. We have to. We are the driver of our own destiny. And we have to take initiative and responsibility of that. You can't say, well, I tried, but this happened. I tried, but if, we all get the same 24 hours in a day. Things are going to happen.
Absolutely.
You have to maneuver around those things, that even those objects that get in the way. You have to, I can't just sit back and give up. I have to keep moving forward. Mm-hmm. Just like the man at the pool of Bethesda. He was crippled for so many years. He said, well, I wanted to get into the pool because the angel will come in and stir the pool up and that people could get healed. He said, I tried to get in the pool, but every time I try to, someone jumps in front of me. That person took their opportunity. Jesus said, do you want to be whole? Do you want to be whole? That means you have to take action. Not just sit here and beg Jesus and pray, but what are you going to do? And that's what you just mentioned, Vicky. And I am so glad you brought that point.
Right. And, I taught Melanie to my own sons about, the only person in the world who you can control is you. Mm-hmm. And so we can sit around and wait for other people to change. We can sit around and wait for other people to see how good we might be at something, to think, wow, I think Vicky might be really good at that position. You could be sitting around waiting for a long time. Mm-hmm. As you said, take responsibility for what you want in life and where you want to go. That's and right, make sure that you are doing everything that you can to make your dreams come true.
Yes.
Because you cannot count on other people for that. They don't know your dreams. They don't know your desires.
That's
only you
right.
know that.
That's right.
And only you can prepare yourself.
That's right. Only you and God know. Vicky, I get really amped when I talk about this topic. When I talk about responsibility, when I talk about taking initiative, that is being a leader. And being a leader is not telling people what to do. When you're a leader, people want to follow you. You are influential. You're not a boss. You're not a manager, which is a very minute title. As a manager, you're just being a babysitter. But as a leader, people want to follow you. And you're not trying to make them or beat them over the head to do that. You're doing things that also they're going to benefit them as a leader, seeing them grow as well as the company. So everything's a win-win. But Vikki, I get really amped when I talk about this subject about we have to invest in ourselves and our destiny, not looking to someone to do it for you. We cop out too much. We have to step over those obstacles and make it happen.
I agree. And I think, Melanie, too, what you have to do is take those obstacles and learn from those as well.
That's right.
I think back at my own career, there have been times when things didn't go the way I wanted them to go. Perhaps I found myself skilled. I found that I had my education and felt like I had a great experience, but the jobs just weren't coming. Mm-hmm. I have had situations where I've been employed, but perhaps was with a manager whose her style and my style didn't really match each other, mm-hmm. and so it wasn't really the optimal situation. Mm-hmm. But I can tell you from both of those, I learned something that has led to positivity in my life. You have to take the situation, and as they say, have to be able to make lemonade out of lemons. There's something positive that we can take from every situation so that we can use that to get to our destination.
That's it, Vikki. That's it. Now, Vikki, what are some ideas for a profitable Reboot plan?
All right. So you want to make a career change. How do you do that in such a way that you're making money? That you're increasing the money you're making. That ideally is what we all want. That as you make these steps, you're getting more reward for that. And I would say the first thing you have to do, Melanie, is you have to know your worth.
That's
and
right.
You have to be willing to ask for that worth.
That's
and so
right.
You can go to websites like Glassdoor.com or Payscale.com and figure out what others who are doing what you want to do are making. And so that way it gives you an idea of, as you start to make this move, what can you expect to be paid? And mm-hmm. It will break it down by, those two sites break it down by industry. They break it down by region of the country, by years of experience. And so you can get a fairly good picture of what it is that you can expect to make.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I think you also have to match, again, and I can't say this enough, you have to match your passion and interest with what is needed. And so the supply must meet the demand. Mm-hmm. It's a lot easier to find a gap than it is to create one.
That's right.
And so you have to make sure that once you figure out what is it that I'm good at, that I want to do, then go out there and find industries or those needs where that would satisfy that need. And then it will be a lot easier for you to go in and find a place for yourself and make money doing what you love. Mm-hmm. Okay? And I want people to keep in mind that as you are doing this, as you're looking for a new position, as you are finding a position that meets your desire, you may have to keep your day job, so to speak, while you're pursuing your new career. Absolutely. Particularly if money is an issue. And it's an issue for everybody. I mean, at the end of the day, you have to keep a roof over your head and you got to keep it on the table. And so, you may find that as you pursue your new career, the money at the beginning is not enough to sustain your life. And so you may have to be in a position where you are doing two jobs at one time, until you're at a place where you're making enough in your desired career to stop the other job.
Very good. Very good points, Vikki. Vikki, please share steps on how one could apply for a job during these volatile times.
So, I think that the way that you, apply for a job, the first thing I would say is network. Talk with the people you know, join professional societies in the field in which you're interested, and tell everybody that you know that you are looking. It used to be the saying was 6 degrees of separation, right? So mm-hmm. You know somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody, et cetera. I'm not even sure it's 6 degrees of separation anymore. Social media and the internet the world has really shrunk. And so, it doesn't take many hops, perhaps, to get to a person. But people can't help you with that change if they don't know that you're looking. So let everyone know that you're looking, and have that elevator speech ready of what you're looking for, what you bring to the table, and what your plan is. And those are the things that let people know you're serious about the change, that you've taken action to make that change occur. Reach out to the people particularly who admire. Is there someone out there who is doing what you want to be doing? Whether you know them or not, reach out to them and say, I really, I love your career path, what you're doing. I would like to be doing that. Could you tell me, give me advice on how I can be doing what you're doing? And so from that, you may get a mentor. You may get some action items that you had not thought about. And that person may see something in you where they want you on their team. So I would say reaching out to people and talking with them on those 3 different levels are most important. And then, of course, you can always go to sites like LinkedIn to see what's out there and apply for jobs there. Glassdoor, PayScale. You can go to the job boards directly at the companies in which you are interested. And so they always are going to have their, employment opportunities out there for you to review. And the nice thing about that is, not only are you looking to apply for jobs, but it's helping you to understand, what do I need to be successful? You can find jobs via industry communication. And so, for instance, I am in higher education. There are dozens of journals of higher education where they are listing jobs throughout the country at different academic institutions, and you could be able to take a look at jobs that way at a specific industry time.
Okay, yes, great sites. Now, any other resources you'd like to share with us, Vicky?
Mostly just, take advantage of resources, for instance, that help you to determine what your personality traits are, that match personality traits with career opportunities. And, there are numerous of those types of resources that you can easily find through Google search.
Okay, very good. Vicky, I loved our chat today. Thank you for hanging out with us.
Oh, well, thank you for having me. This has been fun. I love talking about this topic, seeing people get what they want, because it's so much of our lives. You have to be doing something that excites your heart and mind every day.
Yes, you're doing it. I can tell this is your passion. Join us next week for the episode, I Want My Family Mentally Well. Remember, as Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. said, if you can't fly, then run. If you can't run, then walk. If you can't walk, then crawl. But whatever you do, you have to keep moving forward. Peace.